So Karen, when did your family get on Three Squares?
We signed up for Three Squares probably about a year and a half ago, as my husband was out of work for a short period of time, and we just couldn't make it on our own. Prior to that, I had been receiving Four Squares when I was a single mother for about a year before that.
Was it a difficult decision to decide to go on the program, or did it just make sense?
It made sense, but it was difficult at the same time. It was really a humbling experience. It was hard to ask for the help and frustrating to be in a position to feel like you need to ask for the help. So it was kind of a double-edged sword.
And I know you have 2 young children and a husband. How does this help the family budget? How does it help when you're grocery shopping?
It helps enormously. Unfortunately, I'd like to feed my family like really, really healthy, organic food that I otherwise couldn't afford. For some reason, all of the unhealthy food always ends up being the most affordable food. So for a short period of time there, when we weren't receiving services, we were eating like the more unhealthy types of food. So it's definitely very helpful. We're able to provide a lot more meats and things like that to the children that would otherwise be really, really costly. And it just gives us an opportunity to kind of store on things as well. So we're not always going to the grocery store on basically a daily basis, trying to figure out what can we afford to get right now. So
you can actually have some food in the pantry.
Right, there's actually
tucked away.
Exactly. So it just makes life a lot easier, and there's more of a variety, which is pretty important to the little guys, to children. So.
And does it cover all of your food bill or a portion? How does that work?
It actually does not cover the entire month. It will typically get us through till about the 15th to the 20th, maybe, and from then on out, we're paying out of pocket. But it's definitely helpful for the first half of the month, and if you work it out right, which is kind of hard to do.
Does it take a lot of planning and budgeting
really does.
Before you go to the store?
Absolutely, it really does. You have to really think about your dollars, and of course, when you're shopping with the children, they want the things the yucky foods that you don't really want to buy, and sometimes you're between a rock and a hard place, and you have to be very careful not to spend money on frivolous foods like that aren't as nutritious. That it can be hard, and it's not a lot of money. Like right now, we're receiving round about $200 for a family of 4 for the month. And if you work it out right, that definitely provides enough meat and dairy. But it's a struggle. It's definitely a struggle. It's not an overabundance or anything like that.
So when you go to the grocery store, do you have to make a list and say, this is where I'm going to focus my resources this week?
We attempt to, but yeah, it doesn't always work like that. But that's what we shoot for.
What do you think people should know about Three Squares that maybe they don't? Or what misperceptions might they have about people who are on the program?
I think there are a lot of misperceptions. I think that people oftentimes are very quick to assume that somebody that would be receiving benefits like that are either lazy or perfectly capable and not willing to provide for their own. I think that's a huge misconception. It doesn't necessarily mean someone is poor. It doesn't necessarily mean somebody has done something wrong or lazy. It's a tough time right now for so many people, and I think as taxpayers, I've always worked. I think this is something that my family's entitled to, and I always have paid taxes. I think there's a misconception that once you're in the system, you just linger and you never get out. And they don't realize that there are success stories of people that are no longer in the system, that are working to be not in it. And that's a goal of ours, and I think that's a goal of many people. That I don't think that people realize that a lot. There's a lot of nasty comments about things like that. It's kind of embarrassing at times, but...
How do you hope then this will be a bridge for your family, it sounds like then? You're hoping that eventually things will change.
Absolutely. I think it's a great opportunity, a learning experience and a great opportunity for even the children, as young as they are, to realize the true value of $1. Not to take for granted the things that we do have, such as like a hot meal on the table. It's a huge deal. I mean, to so many people, it's so simple and natural, but for some families, it's a huge struggle. And just having them be able to appreciate and understand how truly lucky they really are, I think is a great experience for them. It's certainly a humbling experience for myself and my husband. So we plan on definitely not being in the system forever, but taking advantage of it as we should be able to, while we need to, temporarily, and walk away with the knowledge that we don't want to do this again, and that we're going to have to work extra hard. Maybe think things through, maybe not be so frivolous in certain areas of our life, maybe plan a little bit better, and just pay more attention to, if that makes any sense at all, just try to pay more attention to the little things that we're doing. Is that really making a huge impact? The few dollars that we spend on sodas and things like that, is that necessary? Is that important in the larger scheme of things?